So what does a top performing digital agency look like in 3 years' time?
In 3 years, that optimal performance marketing would look like simply feeding it the right inputs. So that ad platform might look like set your budget, your customer acquisition cost, or your brand lift target, upload your logos, your target audience, and maybe defining what a mandatory image is, and then allowing the platforms to invest your budget, remixing creative assets. And so the question, if you're listening, is probably why the hell would I pay an agency? And I think the best agencies will be focused heavily around overall transfer of business strategy through to what actually happens from a digital or media strategy point, combining that with creative and then still thinking through the placement and channel mix. So while the platforms themselves might be able to get the best performing creative template, still thinking through how that's operating in one platform versus another and what's that right mix. I know the marketing mix models are sort of coming along. Our testing, or my view on our testing, shows that they still are a source of truth. So you still need somebody to decode that and decide that that is the right data point. So I think that might be done hand in hand with AI. But I do think that the current day using a media buyer and digital is in its last legs. I think 3 years is probably the time frame to imagine that what we do today wouldn't be able to be done.
I think media buyers move from being a group of people who understand how to hack ad platforms and get the best performance through all the different types of settings that they have access to being more of an agency that supports the marketing efforts of clients. So understanding how creative connects to a target audience and communicating the best ways in a digital environment to make an impact and connect consumers to brands. That's a big shift. So it means that it's more reliant or less reliant, on the technical nature of a media buyer and more pushing towards the expertise from marketers sitting within a digital agency. That coincides also with the push for the ad platforms to be more automated as they take away more features and more control and automate delivery of placements and the target audiences. Agencies themselves have less control in the way that they used to. So in one way, it's being forced on the industry, but also it is bringing back the skill set around marketing.
I think Meta is being the driver of a lot of the creative changes and leaning into that. There's a topic I want to dive a bit deeper on into a future episode around their language of discovery commerce. What I like in what they're presenting there is they speak about the importance of data plus creative plus media plus measurement. Going back to how we see the agency market, if you look at those four categories, they're almost four categories of agency types. I don't think that is the movement moving forward. And I don't think by saying you do all four of those, you should be claiming that you're full service. They are just what is required to be able to work in these platforms. If you do not understand the data and its relationship to creative, your creative is not driving your media strategy, and you don't have effective ways of measuring. If you're in-house or your agency is only focusing on one of those pillars, you're just simply not doing advertising. Again, don't have to believe us. Go to the source, look at what Meta is actually putting out. And this applies to all the platforms as we enter the cookieless time. iOS has been a big impact. Cookieless is going to be a big impact on Google. But understanding that relationship. And so it's not creative for creative's sake. It's creative to actually be able to pull levers and understand how it changes both the data inputs and data outputs and being able to understand those. But it should be driving your media strategy, not the other way around.
In the investment industry, they say don't fight the Fed when it comes to making money from stocks. I'd say don't fight Facebook when it comes to making money out of your social ad strategy. Now, if you go and look at the Facebook Power 5, that's Facebook's annual, effectively priority list for advertisers, and it talks about account simplification, it talks about creative performance, and a range of other things to get the best out of your social advertising platform.